Welcome to the 2021 Big East Women's Soccer Championship, presented by Jeep from Chappie Field on the campus of Providence College. 2 tickets to the Sunday's championship game at stake today. In game number 1, it's the Georgetown Hoyas and the Creighton Blue Jays. Welcome everybody to Providence on a blustery, snowy day here in Friartown. John Fanta, joined by my partner Mike Mancuso, will be with you throughout the day, and it's great to have you with us. Mike, it is a different format to this Big East women's soccer season, meaning Georgetown and Creighton, and in our second semifinal, Butler and UConn. It'll be the first time these teams have met this season.
Yeah, of course, this year the Big East broken up into a 6-team Eastern Division and a 5-team Midwestern Division. So Georgetown earning the number 1 seed in the Eastern Division, 9-0-1 on the campaign, only has allowed 1 goal, and that was an own goal. So they're looking to make their 5th straight Big East championship game. Of course, they won 2016, 17, and 18, but did fall to Xavier in 2019. And for Georgetown, they've been led by a trio of major award winners: the Defensive Player of the Year, Kellyanne Livingstone; the Midfielder of the Year, Daisy Cleverly; and, of course, the Offensive Player of the Year, Jenna Menta. Those 3 have been fantastic, as really the whole team has been for Coach Nolan.
Dave Nolan has run a dynasty in our nation's capital in the Hoyas, as you see, trying to make it 5 straight appearances in the Big East Championship, looking for a 4th Big East title in 5 years this week. On the flip side, we have a program in Creighton that was picked at the bottom of the Midwest Division, started their season 0-4, and here Ross Pauly's group is. They're playing with house money and playing the underdog role.
Yeah, they got off to a really tough start, that 0-4 record, but came on strong in the middle portion all the way through towards the end. This will be their first ever Big East tournament game, but they have been playing some of their best soccer down the stretch. Of course, Coach Ross Pauly and his staff earning Big East Coaching Staff of the Year. And, he's talked about this team and that they've been so close over the past couple of years, but this is the group that he's been looking for. This is the group that's been able to finally crack through and make the tournament. And they've been led by a dynamic duo in the midfield as well. 6 of the 10 goals scored by Aida Kardovic, who's a first-teamer, and Ansley Atkinson, a second-teamer. Those 2 certainly have some offensive prowess.
You combine those 2 talents with the speed of Skylar Heinrich, and the Blue Jays play fearless soccer. That's something that Dave Nolan, the Georgetown head coach, said he respects the heck out of this Jays program. And a tee-up to this match, folks, the last 2 times Creighton has traveled to play Georgetown, the 2 teams have drawn. So the records may look different. It may look like the Jays are an underdog, but they are not afraid. It's Georgetown and Creighton for a ticket to the Big East women's soccer title game. Ticket semifinal Friday underway next.
If your money is working toward the same goals, why keep it in different places? SoFi is a one-stop shop for your finances, designed to work better together. Spend with SoFi and get cashback rewards that automatically go toward your goals, like investing in stocks, ETFs, and crypto. That's better together. Or pay down your SoFi debt sooner. That's better together. And that's how SoFi is helping millions get their money right.
Hope you have the hot chocolate ready. It's playoff soccer weather here in Friartown on this Friday. Our AccuWeather forecast at the moment, 39 degrees, balmy, and some scattered showers, and it was really coming down about a half hour ago with snow, actually. It seems like it's subsided as we're about to kick things off, but wind gusts could reach 25 miles per hour as we take a look at the lineups. For Creighton, it is a 3-5-2 system. What stands out to you, Mike?
Well, there's really no surprises there for head coach Ross Pauly. Obviously, in between the pipes, Keelan Terrell has been phenomenal for them this season, of 1.48 goals against. And, you got to focus on where is Skylar Heinrich. She is one of the key cogs to this Creighton attack. And, of course, Aida Kardovic, first-teamer as well. She's been outstanding, tied for the team leading goals with Ansley Atkinson. Those are the 3 key players to watch for Creighton.
On the flip side, we talked about some of those Georgetown main selections of those major award winners. Well, one of the players we didn't talk about, it's to start the dynamic sophomore and the Hoyas' leading goal scorer, Gia Vicari.
Yeah, Vicari's been outstanding. A true sophomore from Reading, Pennsylvania. 9 goals, 4 assists on the season, and one of the fastest players that'll be out there on the pitch here this afternoon.
to think she's not the Big East Offensive Player of the Year is scary. Creighton in the blue, Hoyas in the gray. The Big East Women's Soccer Championship is underway from Providence. Our second match of the day will be Connecticut making their return to the Big East tournament. The Huskies taking on a stifling, a high-powered Butler Bulldog squad. So a fun afternoon of action.
And one thing to keep an eye on for Creighton is when they turn the ball over in the offensive third, how quickly they are able to press. They really want to try to press right away if possible, win that ball back. And if they don't win it, how quickly can they get organized in their defensive shape?
One thing that Dave Nolan told us, Mike, this will be a really enjoyable game to watch in his mind because of Creighton's free-flowing style.
Absolutely. It kind of mirrors a lot of what Georgetown likes to do as well. As soon as they lose it, they're going to be pressing high and trying to gain possession back. So it's going to be an interesting test for both these clubs.
Georgetown playing a match for the first time in 19 days. They were paused for COVID for 8 of those 19. Creighton in action for the first time in 8 days. And the Jays falling just short to Butler, 2-1, and then had to do some watching. There's a turnover here. Taken back by Creighton, now in the Hoyas box, off the right foot. Right there is Navarrete, but certainly encouraging for Skylar Heinrich to get to it.
Absolutely. And, you know, for Georgetown, they've played 2 goalkeepers pretty much all season long. Alyssa Navarrete, who's getting a start today, the senior out of Chandler, Arizona. Hard to believe, John. That's only the 7th shot she's faced this season. Her partner in between the pipes, Lauren Gallagher, second team All Big East this season, has only faced 12 shots on the season. So it really speaks volumes about how solid this Georgetown defense has been in allowing just the 1 goal this year.
That 1 goal, an own goal. This defense for the Hoyas has been right at the top of women's college soccer. And it's no surprise because we have seen Dave Nolan's 4-back system rule this conference. In fact, Kellyanne Livingstone taking the Defensive Player of the Year honors. That's the 4th straight year a Hoya has taken it. You think of Megan Nolly and Elizabeth Wanger, just the great Hoyas through the years that have been part of lockdown defense.
And that's something, you know, Dave Nolan knows the kind of player he wants to recruit. You know, now in his 17th season, he's kind of seen it all in terms of the players that are out there, and he's able to pick and choose those perfect players to run his system, and the results are there. I mean, you look at how successful they've been in conference play, in the Big East tournament, how many awards they pick up. He's getting the right players that he needs.
Seeking a 9th straight NCAA tournament appearance. Georgetown well in line for that.
And one thing Coach Nolan talked about, again, when they don't have possession, is putting pressure on the opposing back line, trying to make them as uncomfortable as possible. And keep an eye on the Georgetown midfielders. He wants to see them getting into the box, not just playing and connecting through the middle of the field, but actually getting into the area. They had a lot of success in their big 7-0 win over Villanova. 4 of those goals coming off those type of plays. He felt they were basically peaking and was kind of bummed out when they went on that 8-day pause where they couldn't really train at all. So it's kind of a mystery even for him to see how his team would be ready physically coming into this one with that 8-day pause in the middle of this basically 19-day break since their last formal game.
Well, it's a big spot for the Blue Jays defensively. Think of a player at left wingback, Nicole Tiller, just a freshman. Part of a young group of Jays, but Ross Pauley telling us earlier this week, this is the group that he's been striving to have in Omaha. He really has been impressed by the fact that every day there's somebody different in his office that's ready to watch film, ready to get better in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you know, he talks about how even though they're young, they're just such a pleasure and a joy to coach. So they all want to learn. They all want to develop. And they've all been able to get on the same page, and the results are there for them this year, qualifying for their first Big East tournament.
(3-5-2) system for Ross Pauley's group. Creighton with a free kick here from deep in their own end.
And here's where you'll see Vicari immediately pressing, and joining her up front was Maya Fernandez-Powell as they try to put this back line under some duress.
Jordy Rothwell at the center of that, the sophomore. Ross Polly, he didn't mince words. He said Jordy Rothwell's going to have to be fantastic for us to have a chance.
Right. I mean, so many people talk about how good Georgetown is defensively, but let's not forget they average 2.6 goals per game.
Yeah.
They can certainly fill the back of the net as well. This isn't purely a team that sits back and wins 1-0, 2-1, or anything like that. This is a team that can score.
It would bear noting, though, that at one point this season, Creighton had not allowed a goal in 3 straight matches, and their defense found a rhythm. So the Blue Jays have shown the resistance. It's not like there's been a ton of action in their matches this year. In fact, if you look at the scoring, they've been outscored 12-10 on their 4-5 season. Lots of close matches, and they've hung in.
And again, it was that rough 0-4 start that they got off to. A lot of the goals scored against them during that stretch. But let's face it, this is a season like any other before. And teams trying to adjust to how much, they could practice either in the fall or coming into this part.
Dangerous ball down that left side. This goes across the end line, and it will be a Georgetown corner kick, an area where the Hoyas have absolutely dominated their competition through 10 matches. They have now 91 corner kicks to just 20 combined for their opponents on the season.
Unbelievable, averaging 9 corners per game.
This one ripped in right at the 6. Off a Hoya head there down the right side. And it'll just be a goal kick as we take a look at Mike's keys to the match for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, for Creighton, one of the things that their coaches talked about was just maintaining their defensive shape and spacing. Can't give Georgetown a lot of space, especially in the middle of the field and out wide. Can't give them any free opportunities for crosses either. That was a big area of concern. When they have the ball, they got to connect with purpose. They got to stretch the field if possible, trying to find the opposite space, get behind the defense when possible as well. And, of course, just be aggressive on set pieces. Can't be lackadaisical in your own box, and certainly have to go for it when you have those rare opportunities against the Hoyas inside their 18.
Rothwell is tracking in and right to Keelan Terrell. Keelan Terrell, when we asked Ross Polly about her, he said she's someone that anybody can trust.
Yeah, and she's coming back from a tough injury in the fall of 2020, but she's very confident in playing inside the penalty area, can make game-changing saves, and he knows she's going to get tested, and she's going to have to come up with at least one or more of those kind of game-changing or game-saving type of plays here today.
That's the goalkeeping in this conference. We'll see the 2 goalkeepers of the year, Randy Palacios of UConn and Stephanie Rodriguez of Butler later today. And you think about the goalkeeping in this match, and there were other candidates for that honor as well.
Yeah, Emma Bodmer for Providence College had an outstanding freshman campaign as well and could have easily been there.
Dangerous ball, and the Hoyas strike first. That was laced into the 6, and Georgetown setting the tone to this tournament.
Gia Vicari able to come through, her 10th goal of the season, and that's exactly what Creighton was trying to avoid. Georgetown able to get it wide, played it across through the area. Somehow it made it all the way through. Vicari sitting on the doorstep, buries it, and Georgetown leads this one 1-0. Again, Vicari just so dangerous, and here they're able to get wide, a perfectly placed ball. The defender there, I believe it was Radke, had a possible chance to get that one out, but it might have just slipped under her foot, and then Vicari there to bury it in the end. But you talk about how Vicari wasn't the offensive player of the year, but what a beautiful ball into the area by Jenna Menta, and that's what really set up that goal.
Georgetown, as advertised to start, for Vicari, goal number 10, and for Jenna Menta, an 8th assist to her total. Vicari and Menta leading in goals and assists, respectively. And we just saw that dynamic Hoya combination. Now they're firing it back.
And this is where it's going to be very interesting to see how does Creighton respond, because when Georgetown senses blood in the water, you know they are just going to go after it and try to bury a team early. You look at what happened against Villanova in their last outing. They piled up 7 goals in that one. After some early goals, Villanova just couldn't respond anymore. Creighton's got to be very careful here. Some dangerous minutes. We'll see how the next 5 minutes play out if Creighton can find some way to gain some possession and get under control.
How about the Hoyas? You don't play a match in 19 days. And Dave Nolan wondered, how would his group respond from that pause where throughout 8 days of the 19, they could not do any soccer activities. Everybody was in isolation. His team has come back, and in their return, a resounding start for the Hoyas.
You know, and Creighton got off to an okay start in this one. They had possession for the first maybe 2 to 3 minutes, had some chances inside the area, even got a shot on goal. But since then, Georgetown's really been able to control possession here and work it to the outside, get a couple of dangerous balls into the area, and they've already converted on one.
Fothergill. Down the right side, it'll be a throw for the Jays. Well, the way that this Creighton season has gone, they've had to respond. An 0-4 start to the campaign. They looked down and out. They were picked at the bottom of the Midwest Division in the Big East. And here they are in this playoff game. They find themselves down again, and they're down to a Georgetown team that has allowed just 1 goal on the entirety of its season.
Of course, Georgetown, you know, a perennial favorite in the Big East, and so much just championship pedigree. You know, a lot of these players have experience of playing in a title game or have experience just playing in the Big East tournament. Of course, for Creighton, their first time ever as a program in this tournament. And you wonder how much that weighs on them, how much extra pressure they feel because of that. Sometimes when you have a young team like this, they might not even be feeling that pressure. But, you know, you go down 1-0 against one of the top teams in the country, and all of a sudden things change quickly.
It's really something. We were talking with Coach Nolan, and he brought up the fact that entering this season, he was wondering just how much his sophomore class could do. He said that would be a key to how this campaign would go, and he said it was clear. Gia Vicari emerged right away as a finisher, and I'd say so, Mike, because she's emerged ahead of the pack, everybody in this conference.
Yeah, she has been absolutely fantastic, and what a treasure to have on your team. And, you know, the thing with that sophomore class is, you know, they hadn't really played as freshmen at all, so he truly didn't really know what he had. Felt he had some quality there, but wanted to see who would rise and, you know, make a valuable bid to get a starting nod or get considerable minutes out on the pitch, and he certainly found that in Vicari and others. And, you know, what a fantastic start for her. Not even 10 minutes in, a 9th-minute goal to put her team on top. And you could just see the flow of this one. Georgetown possessing. We haven't seen really many counters at all out of Creighton, as Georgetown likes to do. As soon as they lose it, they are fighting to get that ball back immediately and really force the defenders on the other side into tough decision-making. And sometimes you wonder how much the weather can affect a game like this. Sometimes you say, oh, does it favor the underdog? Which in this case, let's face it, it has to be Creighton against a very solid Georgetown team. But, you know, a wet surface, it's slick out there. The turf drains well here at Chappie Field, but you could see that ball kind of go a little bit faster at times and kind of skip around rather than its natural just total rolling motion. And that could have an effect throughout this game.
Jenna Royson looking to make a connection. Another stalwart defender for Georgetown. As Dave Nolan said, any one of our 4 in the back line could have won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he almost chuckled when I was talking about defensive player. He's like, well, you know, all these kids are great. And he's right. You know, it just happens to be that Kellyanne Livingstone is the focus of that defensive line. She really does a nice job organizing everybody and keeping everyone honest in that back line. You know, and he talks about her competitiveness as a defender, saying, you know, she would rather win a game 1-0 than 10-1, because if the team scores that one goal, that means the defense failed at some point. So she's one of the ultimate competitors out there in the back line.
Such a great mentality to have. As Rothwell flares this one, Georgetown all over it. Just putting so much pressure on the Jays right there was Kellyanne Livingstone emerging up. Shift the field here. Terrell.
And you could just see the frustration there from Terrell. And you wonder, was that one affected a little bit by the weather as it kind of slipped off the side of her foot as she was trying for the clearance, but maybe that little bit of pressure from Vicari as well in the back of her mind.
Now a nice turn. The ball sent towards Heinrich, cut off well by Julia Lees. Another part of this dynamic sophomore class.
Yeah, Lees earning second team honors this season. And, he kind of refers to her as their Swiss Army knife. She wasn't really a defender by trade, but he's got the luxury of being able to play her at any part of the field. And, last season she was more of an attacking center midfielder, but now they've had to put her back defensively. And, the nice thing about Lees, according to Coach Nell, she doesn't care. She's willing to do whatever is best for the team. And fortunately for them, wherever she goes, she's able to play well.
This Creighton team, they got hot starting on March 21st. Shut out Marquette 3-0, and then got some help from the Golden Eagles against Xavier in that regular season finale to be able to qualify for this tournament. Creighton went to Xavier. This is the key moment. Pulled out a 1-0 result over the reigning Big East champions.
Yeah, that was a huge moment for them and their development as a young team. As we're going to get our first change of the game. As checking in, it looks like it's going to be Keely Fothergill, the senior from Lee's Summit, Missouri, checking in for Creighton. And they're going to replace Cristina Garriga, the junior from Barcelona, Spain.
Keely Fothergill, an injury has forced her minutes to get more limited. But Ross Pauley telling us just how creative she is and that she provides a calming presence to the Blue Jays. Perhaps that's exactly what they need right here.
Yeah, and is one of their few seniors on the squad this year. It's nice when you have that type of player that can come in and instill that kind of confidence and composure out there and kind of calm things down. See if they're able to get her involved. It looks like they're going to drop her back into more of an attacking center mid kind of role for now. Still just leaving Heinrich up top.
Jays moving in well here. Nicole Tiller. Tiller with it now, out of Switzerland.
You could just see the tempo of these Hoyas out there. Anytime a player gets it for Creighton, almost within a split second, there's one, maybe two gray jerseys right on that player trying to win that ball back.
As good of a facilitator Jenna Menta is for Georgetown, the senior's also great at applying that high pressure as we just saw there.
Yeah, again, Menta, Vicari, they both play with such great pace. As it looked like she played it from an offside position, but
yes,
right now, Georgetown controlling the tempo and the pace of this one. See what Creighton can do to try to open things up in the middle of the field, perhaps for Kardovich or Atkinson. In fact, Atkinson, we haven't even called her name as Georgetown's been able to shut her down so far.
That was one of the things that Creighton was hoping would not happen, and we're very early in this match, but Ross Pauley said what Georgetown does so well is they not only know who they are, but they know what you're best at, and they aim to take that away in the process.
Right. And we've seen them be able to kind of enforce their will on the game up to this point. And it always helps when you get that early goal as well, because all of a sudden Creighton knows. They knew they would have to play a nearly perfect game today going against Georgetown. We know Georgetown does not concede goals. So to go down 1-0 early on, meaning that now you have to come up with 2 against a team that's only allowed 1 all season, it can be a daunting task.
Heinrich trying to make a connection with Fothergill, and Georgetown bolting it away. Now a throw for the Jays. Here's Menta. The foot of Tiller. Aida Kardovich, and right there you see Jenna Royson step right in and ensure that she wasn't going to get a clean touch.
Yeah, and again, they'd connected 3 or 4 passes, got up the field, covered about 25 yards, but an unfortunate touch there by Kardovich kind of stalled out the counter for the Blue Jays. But just watching from up high here at Chappie Field at Anderson Stadium, you just see these gray jerseys swarming around. And, almost a special treat for me. I've already had one come up through that window this season. Caught it nice and clean.
Really?
It was almost the second one. First time ever in my broadcasting career I had the ball pop up through the window up high.
Did you make the clean catch?
I did. Unfortunately, with the angles of the camera, they couldn't quite catch them.
We're going to take your word for it. I'm not surprised. You've got great hands. And you played soccer, right?
I certainly did, and and I was actually a water polo goalie as well. So I think that's where the one-handed kind of grab came from there. But yeah, that was a funny moment earlier this season.
Mike Mancuso, a man for all seasons. Water polo's one I had not heard of. How about that? A while this morning, I was thinking we might be playing water polo today.
Yeah, certainly some of the stretches on 95 look like they were deep enough.
Providence College hosting the 2021 Big East Women's Soccer Championship, sponsored by Jeep. John Fanta, Mike Mancuso with you. This is semifinal number 1. Georgetown, the Hoyas looking for a 4th tournament title in 5 years, but last year came up short to Xavier, so trying to get after redemption here. They always hold themselves to that standard of being Big East champions, and that's another part of the mentality that they have this week, as they'll have their second corner.
Yeah, and they take a lot of pride in that as well. So here, this is going to be another crucial moment for Creighton. Defending set pieces high on the priority list, and for Georgetown, attacking these set pieces.
Maya Fernandez-Powell taking it. This one's to the back post. It's headed just over the cage.
Wow, and that is one, certainly, that Devin Liss is going to wish he had back. She was pretty much left pretty open there on the back end of the 6. We're going to get another look here. But a beautiful ball sent in by Fernandez-Powell. And pretty much you don't get a much more open header than that. If you're Devin Liss, you kind of got to bury that.
Point blank look for Devin Liss. Creighton fortunate for this to still just be at 1. The Hoyas have totally tilted the field to the Blue Jays box. It has not been a situation where Creighton's been really able to get much going on the other end for the last 20 minutes. Basically, we saw in the first few minutes of this one, Creighton was able to find an opportunity. Skylar Heinrich got a shot off. This is not a Georgetown team. It gives up many of those. That's why they've been one of, if not the best defensive team in college soccer. But you also take into account the wind here, and right now blowing in the Hoyas' favor. Would be interesting to see if that impacts things as this match goes on.
Yeah, it's kind of a swirling wind here this afternoon, and has varied in its strength, but certainly could come into play later on.
Now a ball in the left end. Off the left foot, there's Navarrete cleaning it up. Aida Kardovich got her foot to it.
Yeah, a nice job by Creighton, able to work that one down low. Nicole Tiller getting the final strike on that one. And, for the second time today, Navarrete forced to make a save. We talked about earlier, hasn't faced a lot of shots. That is only the 8th shot she's faced, 2 of them coming in this game. So Creighton has been able to create a couple of dangerous chances, but certainly needs to get a little bit more clinical in the final third. There's a tough challenge from behind. And wow, that looked to be should have been a foul on Creighton today. As we look at the last chance for the Blue Jays. And in the end, it's another save for Alyssa Navarrete. So Creighton actually leading in shots on goal at this point, 2-1, as both teams credited with 2 shots each, but it's Georgetown, the lone goal from the foot of Gia Vicari.
That coming in the 9th minute. Vicari's 10th of the season, tops in the Big East as Creighton goes back to their bench and brings on Michaela Weist, the redshirt sophomore from Overland Park, Kansas.
Creighton substitution, entering the game for the Blue Jays, number 11, Michaela Weist. Replaces number 2, Maddie Radke.
Beg your pardon, it is Michaela Weist who's come on for the Jays.
So Radke checking out. Now here's Kardovich with some space to work with.
Kardovich laces this one out. Right-footed strike off a Hoya head. It's at the 6 and dangerous. Navarrete off her line. The Blue Jays have equalized.
And you look at the players involved in that one, Kardovich and Heinrich. A little bit of a breakdown in the middle of the 18, and only the second time Georgetown has conceded a goal this season. It comes in the run of play. Aida Kardovich's 4th of the season. And look at this flick with the outside of the left foot. Brilliant touch, well settled by Heinrich. Livingstone got an initial head to it, and then Navarrete kind of came out. She wasn't fully confident, it looked like. And she tried to get to it. And a little flick on there, the final touch finally off the foot of Kardovich. And what a response by Creighton.
Off the head of Keely Fothergill as well, who flew in. Has come in off the bench. We told you about her calming presence. The calming presence has led to some activity and an answer by the underdog Blue Jays.
And that has got to just give them an absolute boost of confidence. And for Georgetown, you wonder now, will they be a little bit rattled? They're not used to giving up goals. And, you look at the one partial blemish on their record this year. It was a 0-0 draw. And where was it? Here at this field, Chappie Field against Providence College. So the one place in the Big East that Georgetown maybe struggled a little bit, and the Friars certainly had some chances in that one to knock off the Hoyas. So now a corner kick coming up for Creighton, and we'll see if they could ride this wave of momentum that they've been generating. Last couple of minutes, you have to say, advantage Blue Jays.
You absolutely have to say it, and this is not something that Georgetown concedes much, a corner kick, just the 21st corner by an opponent this season. It is Aida Kardovich. This is a good ball, punched away by Navarrete, and a foul.
Getting way too aggressive there was Jordy Rothwell. She took down 2, almost 3 Hoyas right at the top of the 6 as she was making a play for that ball.
What a start to this semifinal Friday. That was such a good ball that Menta didn't even see it. It actually went off of her back. And now with a great run, Royson taking over. Here come the Hoyas again.
And there's one of those little skips over the foot of a defender, but fortunately for Creighton, Menta was still in an offside position.
So we've got less than 17 to go in a back and forth first half now. If you're Creighton, you're coming off that moment. How do you mix the mentality of keeping the momentum while also not taking that play off or riding the emotion too much, and Georgetown punching right back.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, playing smart, playing well within your system, connecting with purpose. We keep kind of harping on that. Is that what Coach Pauly was talking about? Don't just kick it somewhere for the sake of kicking it somewhere. Advance the ball into spaces that they want to get to. Try to get in behind that defensive line. Not the easiest thing to do against Georgetown, but you saw what could happen when you do. And again, Kardovich with just that beautiful touch, the outside of the foot to get it to Heinrich. And Heinrich the presence to set herself up for the cross into the area.
Aida Kardovich, a game changer for Creighton, coming up big here. Now here's Menta with the left foot, was looking to make that connection with Gia Vicari.
Yeah, and she's wondering where maybe one of the flank midfielders was as well, because Vicari was already cutting towards the center of the 18. Was expecting someone to be making a run towards the far end of the box. That's why she placed it there. But no one making that run in that particular time. So an opportunity goes by the wayside for the Hoyas, but you can see how quickly they can get going on the other end as well. Let's not forget this Georgetown team, so much firepower out there. That's where the Creighton back line is going to have to be sharp for the rest of this one.
Great activity by the Blue Jays. It was up ahead to Heinrich, just out of her range. A good ball, though, and a dangerous one sent in by Ansley Atkinson that time.
Yeah, again, slipping it through the defense, trying to get Heinrich on the run. And we have a foul behind the play on the dangerous sliding challenge.
Isn't this playing out to what the legend Dave Nolan told us it would be, that it would be a free-flowing, a really fun type of match?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen great action on both ends of the field, and, we've seen both teams have stretches where they've controlled possession, pace, and creating chances. It's just who's going to have the most magical moments here this afternoon and the best finishing touches. I think we have a bloody nose situation coming over to the near side as Ansley Atkinson, and part of that dynamic duo in the midfield along with Kardovich. So they will actually play down a player for now, will the Blue Jays, with Atkinson off the field getting her bloody nose attended to.
Left side, Fothergill with it. Coming off that assist to Kardovich for the goal, and some physicality as we see Georgetown enter in the freshman, Aaron Martin, a midfield asset for Coach Nolan.
Yeah, and someone that he was pretty high on, saying, she's already a good player, but she's going to be a great college player. She's just very technical with both feet. Good size, physically strong, and she's funny. She's got a great personality, fits in well with her teammates.
That's the culture that's been built on the Hilltop. But now making a postseason debut, it's always interesting hearing these coaches talk about, and especially in a season like this, Mike, where you always have a vision or an expectation for how things might go. But these coaches told us you kind of throw that out entering a season like we've had here, and there have been many pleasant surprises.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been for both sides. And, for Georgetown, Martin has stepped up as one of those first-year players and really made an impression and has earned her minutes. She's not just getting put out there for the sake of being put out, and here's how Georgetown likes to get wide.
Great ball. Terrell, a little bit off her line, gets back there as Menta. This is tracked well and defended well by Gabby Grimaldi. Grimaldi standing well with Menta there, because that could have been much more dangerous than it was. And it's a Hoya corner.
Yeah, Grimaldi doing quite well that time to stay with Menta. Did not allow her to get behind her. Did wind up giving up the corner kick. And that will let Coach Nolan make a change. He will bring in Tori Hallwachs. And actually, it looks like Fernandez Powell will be the one coming over to the bench, so that means a different corner kick taker here. And Georgetown's already proven to be dangerous on these corners. Probably should have scored on their last one.
This one to the center of the box and punched away by Terrell.
Yeah, Terrell doing nice. Had to kind of go within a sea of blue and gray there. Did get that fist through to just knock it to the far touchline.
A big stage for the sophomore, taking on an offense that goes beyond Vicari. 7 players with 2+ goals this year for these Hoyas.
And, you know, for all the talk we've done about this Georgetown offense today, they've only generated 2 shots.
Yep.
You know, credit Creighton for making life fairly difficult for most of this one.
Well, when they were playing their best soccer, Mike, as we were talking about, when they went on that 4-match surge, they had the 3 straight shutouts. So that's kind of attached. And sure, they've given up 1. But it bears noting that when Creighton's been on, and they have enjoyed a degree of success in the past against Georgetown. And when I say that, look, Georgetown does not lose. They don't lose much in this conference, and Creighton's found a way the past 2 times they've traveled to play the Hoyas. They have drawn.
Yeah, Coach Nolan talking about that with us yesterday about, you know, this is a tougher matchup than it might look like on paper. That Creighton, they've been able to do some wonderful things there. Again, high praise for Coach Pauly and his staff, which again, yesterday were named the Big East coaching staff of the season. And it is for good reason. You know, what they've been able to do with that program and now earning their first spot in the Big East tournament, it definitely was something of concern. And now you got to wonder, okay, the physical fitness of this Georgetown team with that 8-day pause within the last 2 weeks, how much is that going to be a factor here? Creighton was able to train. They got their final game in against Butler. So all these things kind of mixing and matching and coming together here this afternoon. A lot of questions still left to be answered, but fortunately for us and everybody watching at home, a whole lot of soccer left in this game too.
10 minutes left in this opening stanza, and a reminder coming up at the half. We will talk about the major award winners across Big East women's soccer. Look at the all-conference selections and some of the star power that we're seeing in this tournament. Georgetown featured a ton in the major award winners. We'll have those coming up at the half. John Fanta, Mike Mancuso on a brisk Friday in Providence, Rhode Island. That one on a hop into the hands of Terrell.
A little excuse me shot that time off of the right foot of Jenna Royson. And Royson, one of those honorees, earning second team honors for the 2nd consecutive season. A junior out of Toms River, New Jersey. Big booming punt. That time from Terrell.
Fothergill, she seems to be a magnet right now to the ball when it does get to the midfield. Just all over. And look at Heinrich just fly. Tons of pressure put on by Heinrich, who dazzled in this conference as a freshman and now as a sophomore, making some things happen as Fothergill was trying to connect with her, but that one just a little bit too much.
Yeah, Heinrich is fast. She ain't quite that fast. It was a great idea from Fothergill, trying to find some space there in the near side corner, but just a little bit too heavy on that touch for Heinrich that time.
Creighton substitution. Entering the game for the Blue Jays is number 15, Ansley Atkinson.
Ansley Atkinson comes back on for Creighton after that bloody nose situation. Georgetown had Vicari down the left side, but Alwex just not able to find her in that moment. Hoya throw here instead. One in this Big East semifinal. Now here's a dangerous ball down the right side that slides away, but again, Creighton trying to make that connection with Heinrich doing everything she can.
And that's exactly what they wanted to do. Get Heinrich running behind the defense in space as Georgetown makes another change.
Yes, they do, and they make it in the form of Hannah Delkich. Delkich, the sophomore forward, as well as Boo Jackson, the junior, who can do some different things offensively. So Dave Nolan, he said one of the themes of this weekend where they would try to find separation, again, is relying on their depth. And when you haven't played a match in 19 days, that depth becomes really important.
Exactly, and that'll be on display, I think, throughout this whole tournament for all the teams involved. As Vicari, one of those players that just checked out, they look like they have moved Tori Hallwicks up now as one of those attacking players as they find some space wide for the just checked in Boo Jackson, but just a little bit too much on that pass to the far side.
Well, and that wind is just taking the ball, and it's not helping much there for Georgetown. That might be a situation that works well at Shaw Field, a grass surface, but they adjust here, playing on the turf at Chappie.
Yeah, the fast turf today with the slick surface from the rain and the snow and the sleet and all the other wintry mix we've had here in Providence this afternoon.
Nice job by the Jays to keep things in play. Here's Tiller. 5 and change to go in this first half. First ticket to Sunday's championship final on the line. We'll have Butler and Connecticut to come. Co-goalkeepers of the year in the Big East in Rodriguez and Palacios, and a great coaching matchup. Margaret Rodriguez, a Husky all-timer, now taking the program back to the conference tournament against the dynamic duo that we'll talk about later today, Terry St. John, Rob Allman. Martin to the right side. Good thought with Delkich, but not in her range. So as we get down to the final minutes of this first half, if you were each coach, let's start with Dave Nolan's side. What would you try to tell your team?
Again, they just have to focus on, one of the key points coming into this one, where is Heinrich? She's been able to get dangerous. She's been able to get behind the defensive line and obviously was instrumental in the goal that they scored. Keep an eye on her, play smart defensively. And for Creighton, kind of the same thing. They've got some fresh legs to deal with now with some of the changes that Coach Nolan has made. So for the defensive backs there, just keep track of the new players and make sure you don't get beat wide.
We've already seen them get beat wide. That was in the 9th minute. Great ball from Menta to Vicari. Now here's Fothergill. The dangerous ball. Heinrich racing towards it. Georgetown cut it off. Creighton has found some terrific activity deeper into this first half. Atkinson, right foot. Wiest had it momentarily, and now the Hoyas trying to shift things back. For a good 25-minute span in this half, we saw Georgetown on Creighton's end, possessing, not getting many dangerous chances, Mike, as we've alluded to. Now the Hoyas trying to perhaps get some of that back before they head to the locker room.
Yeah, I think if you're Coach Nolan, he'd like to see some more dangerous chances played across like that one is. He said a lot of times people talk about advanced stats and possession time and all this, and that sometimes, that doesn't really matter. It's what you do with that possession chance, and it's more about creating those chances to have those magical moments in front of goal.
Royson with a run. Delkich back to Royson and taken back by the Blue Jays. Kardovich with some fancy footwork to keep possession, and now here's Skylar Heinrich looking for some two-man game with Fothergill. Fothergill in some space to Atkinson. Atkinson to Heinrich. Heinrich! That was blocked right away.
Yeah, Julia Lease doing a nice job staying in front of Heinrich that time. Able to get fully in front of that shot.
2 minutes left in this first half. If you're just joining us, you've missed an eventful start to Semifinal Friday in the Big East Women's Soccer Tournament. In the 9th minute, Gia Vicari, top goal scorer in the Big East, notching number 10 on her season. That coming from Jenna Menta and Maya Fernandez-Powell. But then in the 27th, Creighton answering off a scramble at the 6th. Keely Fothergill got a head to it just as Alyssa Navarrete was trying to lock up a save or punch it away. And Aida Kardovic, it fell to her foot. Kardovic knocks in her 4th goal of the year, and here we are with $1:15 to go in this first half.
Well, and you talk about an opportunity. Here's one for Creighton, a free kick in a very good spot. A chance to get dangerous here in the final minute of play in this half. Kardovic will have the kick as Georgetown trying to hold that top of the 18.
Kardovic to the center of the box off the head of Atkinson and across that end line, and it will be a goal kick.
Well struck ball, though. Certainly a good opportunity there for Creighton to perhaps do what so many people would think would be unthinkable, and that would be to put 2 past Georgetown, but they've already got the 1 as they were able to connect late in this half. Alex Baer now in for the Hoyas. Kind of a last-second change just to maybe run a little bit more time off the clock.
Well, what does this all mean as we've hit the final seconds of this first half? Georgetown entered this match, folks, and in their 10 games on the season, they had outscored their opponents 26-1. The Hoyas have been dominant defensively, but Creighton, Aida Kardovic, and the Blue Jays are even at 1 apiece with a Big East championship game ticket on the line.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit surprising there, especially it looked like Georgetown had all the momentum, 1-0 after 9 minutes on a brilliant goal from Vicari. But credit Creighton, they didn't go away. They didn't just succumb to that early pressure by the Hoyas. They were able to kind of find themselves, find their own rhythm, start connecting through the midfield. Eventually, it led to the goal from Kardovic. And, despite everything that seemed to be against them with the early deficit, the weather, playing one of the top 10 teams in the nation, they were able to respond, and they came up with a huge goal to go into this one level at the half.
Georgetown's 1 draw this season came here at Chappie Field in scoreless fashion against Sam Loeb's Providence Friars. So it's been a place that's given the Hoyas some issues before. They find themselves tied with Creighton at 1 apiece as we've reached halftime of the Big East Women's Soccer Semifinals presented by Jeep. More to come here on the Big East Digital Network, sponsored by SoFi.
As Bulldogs, we believe in the Butler way, in doing more than our best, in putting team above self, and unleashing our strengths for the greater good. We're selfless. We're united. We're unwavering. Now more than ever.
If your money is working toward the same goals, why keep it in different places? SoFi is a one-stop shop for your finances, designed to work better together. Spend with SoFi and get cashback rewards that automatically go toward your goals, like investing in stocks, ETFs, and crypto. That's better together. Or pay down your SoFi debt sooner. That's better together. And that's how SoFi is helping millions get their money right.
Though we are many, we are part of something. A force bigger than all of us. Our distinct fingerprints collectively shaping and forever changing what makes UConn, UConn. Forever making our mark. Forever making UConn a part of us.
As Bulldogs, we believe in the Butler way, in doing more than our best, in putting team above self, and unleashing our strengths for the greater good. We're selfless. We're united. We're unwavering. Now more than ever.
If your money is working toward the same goals, why keep it in different places? SoFi is a one-stop shop for your finances, designed to work better together. Spend with SoFi and get cashback rewards that automatically go toward your goals, like investing in stocks, ETFs, and crypto. That's better together. Or pay down your SoFi debt sooner. That's better together. And that's how SoFi is helping millions get their money right.
We are at the half in the Big East Women's Soccer Championship semifinals presented by Jeep. Top seed out of the East Division, Georgetown won, and the second seed on the Midwest Division, Creighton won, all squares. We take a look at the Big East Women's Soccer Honors. First, the all-conference first team loaded up with Hoyas, Huskies, and Bulldogs.
Yeah, kind of as expected, a lot of those players will be featured here this evening and on Sunday. And, you know, you look up and down those names right there, a lot of them playing today. Cleverly has been outstanding as a transfer from Cal Berkeley. Livingstone, really the centerpiece of that back line for Georgetown. Menta, well, we know what she's been able to do when she's teamed up with her teammate Vicari. And, of course, some impressive players coming up in the second game as well.
It will be fun to see some of those players in action as we take a look at the second team now. And these are some of the players who are the glue of their respective teams. Just think about what Julia Lease does for Georgetown and what Jenna Royson does as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, for Creighton, you see Atkinson and Heinrich there on the second team. They've been fantastic in this game, as they have been all season long. And some more coming up later on today.
How about Meg Hughes as well for Providence, part of a loaded freshman team. You just think about the future of this conference, Mike. And how about Caitlin O'Malley for Butler? She plays the most minutes for the Bulldogs, and she's their center back.
Yeah, I think in talking to their coaches, they said she only came off for like 6 minutes the entire season, and that's doing it as a freshman who's really been able to take command of that back line for the Butler Bulldogs.
As we turn to the major award winners, and these all belong on the hilltop for the most part, Jenna Mensah, the Offensive Player of the Year, just coming up with an assist in our first half.
Yeah, and that's what she's been able to do. Had a team-high 7 assists coming into today, added her 8th on the goal for Vicari, and she's just been a tremendous force to be reckoned with on the attacking side of the ball.
In the midfield, it's Daisy Cleverly. How about this stat for Georgetown? This is the 8th time since 2010 the Hoyas have had the Big East Midfielder of the Year.
Yeah, like I said earlier, she's a transfer from Cal Berkeley. She's from New Zealand. They had some connections there in bringing her in. Big question Dave Nolan had was, would she fit in? Well, I think it has been a resounding yes.
Absolutely, and defensively it could have been a number of different candidates, but Kellyanne Livingstone, the senior wall for the Georgetown Hoyas, coming up with the top defensive honor.
Yeah, and we've talked about just how competitive she is. Would rather win 1-0 than 10-1, and has been extremely motivated this season. Just such a good organizer of that back line.
And in the coaching staff front, Ross Pauley from the basement of the preseason poll in the Midwest Division in the Big East to the Big East tournament, and now 45 minutes in against Georgetown and even up at 1.
Yeah, and of course, you can't forget they started the season at 0-4, went on a tear, and really earned that spot here in the Big East tournament for the first time in program history.
You became very familiar with the Big East Freshman of the Year, Meg Hughes. What does she do so well?
Oh, just a tremendous goal scorer, very clinical in the final third of the field. Has great speed and spatial awareness on the field. Was really able to do a nice job getting in behind defenses and making them pay all year long.
The future is bright for Sam Lopes Friars. We'll be seeing them in this tournament soon enough as we take the goalkeepers of the year. This was so tight it came down to 2 award winners, Stephanie Rodriguez for Butler.
Yeah, the vote split between the coaches this year, and Stephanie Rodriguez, who will play a prominent role in the next game here this afternoon, one of those award recipients, and someone that obviously her coaching staff very high on, her calmness and her presence in the box and how she's able to command that area of the field.
On the flip side, for the UConn Huskies, Randy Palacios with 4 clean sheets joining Rodriguez.
Yeah, Palacios, another one of those players that her coaches just absolutely love, and had a tough moment earlier this year. Gave up what some might consider a soft goal against Georgetown. They wound up losing that game in overtime 2-1, but then came back strong later on against Providence, came up and saved a penalty kick, which ultimately earned them their spot in the Big East tournament.
We are at the Big East tournament. We're at halftime of semifinal number 1. Tied up at 1 apiece between the Hoyas and Jays on the Big East Digital Network.
As Bulldogs, we believe in the Butler way, in doing more than our best, in putting team above self, and unleashing our strengths for the greater good. We're selfless. We're united. We're unwavering. Now more than ever.
Though we are many, we are part of something. A force bigger than all of us. Our distinct fingerprints collectively shaping and forever changing What makes UConn, UConn. Forever making our mark. Forever making UConn a part of us.
As Bulldogs, we believe in the Butler way, in doing more than our best, in putting team above self, and unleashing our strengths for the greater good. We're selfless. We're united. We're unwavering. Now more than ever.
One apiece in the Big East women's soccer semifinals at the half. Let's take a look at how we got here. First half highlights.
Yeah, Georgetown able to do what they like to do, get the ball wide, played across, Menta to Vicari. It's been a dangerous combination all season long. Perfectly placed ball here by Menta, and there on the other end to smash it home is Vicari for her 10th goal of the season. Georgetown would get another great chance this time for Devin Liss, but just couldn't direct the header on frame that time, could Liss. Creighton on the other side would create some chances as well. Kardovich in the midfield, able to get dangerous and give an opportunity for her teammate Nicole Tiller. But up to the task was Alyssa Navarrete. And a beautiful flick with the left foot from Kardovich wound up resulting in a goal for her as the cross played in by Heinrich and then headed on by Fothergill. But what a brilliant little finish here by Kardovich, just tracking that ball and able to get in front of Liss for the equalizer.
The goals in the 9th minute for Georgetown, and then in the 27th, that answer by Kardovich. We take a look at the first half numbers. It wasn't as if we saw a ton of opportunities, but the ones that came were valuable enough for these two teams to be level at one.
Yeah, I mean, a very evenly played game. Both teams had times where they kind of controlled possession, controlled pace, and created the chances that they wanted. And, it's been a pretty clean game. I'm almost surprised that there were 7 fouls on Georgetown, as some of those just very minor. But so far, a good game, an entertaining game, a pretty free-flowing game. The chances in numbers haven't quite been there for both sides, but I have a feeling we might see both teams pressing a little bit more here and trying to find that go-ahead goal.
It is brisk. It is breezy here at Chappie Field in Providence, Rhode Island. 45 down, 45 at least to go. Level at one apiece between the Hoyas and Jays. First ticket to the Big East Championship game at stake here in Friartown.
And for the Hoyas, they've been able to basically just pencil that date in every season for the last 5 years. And Creighton trying to put an end to that in just their first appearance in the tournament.
Remarkable what the Jays have done this season, and you always wonder, will it translate to the postseason? How will they handle a stage like this? And Creighton has handled it quite well as anybody has this season, because you go down to Georgetown, and they've outscored their opponents 26-1. That one goal allowed actually came against Connecticut, another layer to this tournament weekend of the Huskies really wanting that potential rematch, but they have a daunting test later today against Butler. And I think that, Mike, the thought entering this tournament was, well, Georgetown, Butler, UConn, they all have cases to be made and have put together good RPIs. Creighton outside the top 100, but don't let the record or any of those metrics fool you. If an unprecedented season has shown us anything, Mike Mancuso, it's that you can't look at every single number and define a team with that.
Absolutely. And, Creighton knows that their path to the NCAA tournament has to go through Georgetown and then potentially a rematch with Butler, or a game against UConn. So they know what's on the line here, and so far they have not looked afraid. They got a little rattled after the goal they gave up to Vicari, but they have continued to press and try to play their game. One notable change right now for Georgetown, now in goal, is Lauren Gallagher, the sophomore from Pearl River, as Coach Nolan is apt to do, switch the two netminders at the half. So Navarrete is now on the bench, and Lauren Gallagher, second team All Big East this season, is in between the pipes. So now a free kick and a pretty good spot here for the Hoyas, as we'll see if they decide to bring some numbers forward. And indeed they will.
Dave Nolan said we have to be aggressive in that final third. It's what went so right in the 7-0 blowout win over Villanova in their regular season finale, what turned out to be that finale. But they have not been able to generate great chances as this match has gone on, as the flag is up, offside called.
I think that's going to be a little bit frustrating for the Hoyas. Julia Elise caught offsides there at the tail end of that free kick. And those free kicks, they haven't come too often for either side here today, and both coaches knowing that those do present golden opportunities to perhaps come up with a goal. We get back underway with Keelan Terrell's big blast up towards midfield. Wow, look at the wheels on Heinrich as she was able to put Lise under, and that's the press that Creighton wants to employ. Make them play that ball out wide. They were able to get the turnover, and now we're back in business on the offensive end.
What's amazing is Ross Pauley, the Jays head coach, tells us Heinrich doesn't get fatigued. She has that motor, and it's nonstop.
And the slick surface kind of taking down Lise once again.
Royson trying to get to that one, and it is in the Hoyas' favor here.
And you see the good sportsmanship. But she got just a little bit tangled up with Kardovich, who was just trying to make a play on it coming from behind. Both players fortunately seem to be all right.
Atkinson looking ahead to Heinrich, just out of her range. Julia Lise all over it to shift the field. Royson's attempt gets cut off well, and here's Heinrich. The speedy sophomore with a burst of speed. Lise cut her off well enough to keep that from becoming a really dangerous chance.
Yeah, well done by Lise. That's, one of those spots where Creighton wants to get Heinrich in those 1v1 situations against some of the Georgetown backs, but Lise completely holding her ground.
Atkinson again, good maneuverability here. Great give-and-go action now from outside the box. This one harmless off the left foot, far left of the cage.
Yeah, some good combinations there by Leah Hoynes and Atkinson. Atkinson, the shot a little bit off target, but again, Creighton creating some of these chances in the attacking third of the field. And again, a day like this, kind of hard to warm up, I would imagine, for a player like Gallagher, who rode the first 45 minutes on the bench now, coming out of halftime, trying to get acclimated to the pace, the intensity, and doing all that in a freezing rain here with that wind.
You need the hand warmers on the sidelines. You need a little bit of everything. Extra layers here. Break them out. If you were starting to get to your spring and summer clothes, forget about it. It is cold. Temps ranging around 38, 39 degrees. It's been blustery as well. We've got that crosswind. And the conditions,
well,
they've played a part, but I'll tell you, I give Creighton a lot of credit for the way they weathered what could have been a tough day for them. Atkinson, another strike, and on one hop right into the hands of Gallagher.
And those are some of the toughest shots to field as a netminder, coming from, about 20 to 25 yards out, a wet surface, skipping in front. And I thought that Gallagher did really well to make that save and not allow any type of rebound there in front of the net. We'll talk about the weather again,
Yeah,
John.
were you going to say something about those?
I was. Well, traditionally, the Big East tournament is held in these kind of conditions. I mean,
Sure.
usually this tournament is in late November, and, the NCAA tournament kind of in that late November, early December phase as well. So not atypical to see this type of weather, but this year, after last weekend here in Providence, temperatures were in the mid-70s on Friday and Saturday. I was calling a game in a polo shirt, thinking this is wonderful. And then I come today, I have to wear my full parka.
Last time this tournament was held, it was in Omaha. And let's see, fall of 2019. It was 10 degrees outside at kickoff of one of the matches. On our semifinal day, it was, here's Heinrich. She doesn't need to warm up at all.
No. But there's the kind of pressure that Heinrich can apply. It really left Caitlin Parcell with no choice but to make the safe play and knock it out of bounds. Can't take a chance when you have Skylar Heinrich coming down on you like that.
We talk to these coaches, and you get to speak with them about their journeys. And at the top of my Creighton notes, put this in bold print. This is the exact group that I've been looking for. And aren't those words playing out true here thus far? Ross Pauly's Creighton Blue Jays and the way that they have responded and have now hung right in with a top 10 team in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, he continued on, that these players, they understand and they want to play Creighton style of soccer. And they've been doing it well. They're just a young, talented group, easy to coach, and willing to develop and get better as a collective group.
Great action here with Atkinson bursting with a run to the foot of Parcell.
And you got to feel with every passing minute in this game, the confidence continues to grow here for Creighton. They don't look like a team that is taking on the perennial favorite, a top 10 team nationally. I think they realize when they unlock that goal that they can hang with this Georgetown team and that it now just comes down to what is 36 minutes and change left in regulation here. They've put themselves in a great spot to pull off what would definitely be considered an upset.
I'll tell you, Leah Hoynes has really added speed and playmaking to Creighton in the midfield.
Yeah, and I really like the way she's able to play off Atkinson in the midfield with her. Those two have combined for some nice opportunities through the upper half of the midfield and into the attacking third of the field today, in particular in this half.
Sophomore from Norway. A lot of youth, but youth performing. And you think about it, that's another difference. You brought up the fact that this tournament's normally played in November, but these players were training throughout the fall and just connecting, building chemistry to this point so that if you are a younger player, you didn't enter the spring season not knowing what to expect, at least from your comrades.
No, that's absolutely true. And, the one thing you do have to remember, though, is, Georgetown didn't really have that full luxury of training all the way through the fall. And, they were obviously happy to be able to finally get out there in the winter portion of this season, and they've done quite well as expected. But, the teams have had to adapt and, find ways to persevere through all the different challenges related to the different protocols, the pauses. I mean, every team basically had to experience the pause in one shape or form throughout this season, and how they've responded to it has shown a lot about their character and their growth and their resilience as players and people, because it has affected everybody in different ways.
We'll talk more about that in our second semifinal tonight. I thought that UConn head coach Margaret Rodriguez shared some really great reflections on excuses and overcoming, making them, trying to battle through it. Credit to all these student athletes for what they've navigated through, and they're delivering a great game right now in semifinal number 1 of the Big East Women's Soccer Championship. Vicari scored her 10th in the 9th minute of this one. Now a bullet. Here's a ball for Heinrich. And Gallagher coming out, locking it up.
And you could see right away, as soon as Kardovich had that one, saw Heinrich making the run, placed it through, just a little heavy on the touch, and with that slick field, you could see it kind of skip a little bit further than maybe it usually would. But that's the kind of idea that they want to execute out there on the attack.
We've talked about your point that as each minute passes, you feel more and more confident. If you're Creighton, we're seeing the results right now. The Blue Jays are building certain things up. Vicari trying to cut things off here.
Yeah, I mean, Georgetown has really struggled a bit here to kind of get the ball wide, get some of those crosses into the box, and they're still only sitting on 3 total shots. That's not shots on goal. That's just total shots for the game.
And that's a huge difference from the Hoyas' average. They typically outshoot their opponents around 16-4 per game.
Yeah, they one of the top performing offensive teams, obviously in the Big East, if not nationally. And those over 16 shots a game that they generate, they're used to having that flow, keeping the ball moving forward, generating those chances from the wings. But today, Creighton has really executed their game plan quite well. Outside of the one chance they gave them. And what did Georgetown do with that one chance? Well, they certainly made them pay back in the 9th minute. And here's where Georgetown could get dangerous. They start getting some of their backs up involved with Royson.
Now here's a ball that is harmless over the top.
But, for Georgetown, who hasn't been able to create that many chances in the last 10, 15 minutes of this game, that's what they want to do. Get the ball wide, get it to Menta, have her play it towards the 18 with players crashing in. In that case, they had Vicari in the vicinity in Hallwalks as well.
Grace New Win coming back on. A senior who has just been so steady for Dave Nolan throughout her career, has been that type of player, that gradual growth and progress throughout, and now counting on her to play a huge role in the postseason.
Yeah, now she's, got some rest there on the bench for a little bit and trying to get reacclimated to this gun. See if she can contribute here in the middle of the field for the Hoyas. Right now she's kind of shadowing Kardovich. And after a quick equipment adjustment with some shoe tying, we're ready to get back in action here.
Heinrich. Georgetown has Lease tracking her like glue. Now here's a dangerous sequence of passes, and the ball just skids away, the wind helping it across that end line for just a goal kick. But certainly,
well, I think a little too unselfish that time. Michaela Wiest trying to play it back into the 18. She had an opportunity. The ball was set up nicely on her right foot. If she would have taken maybe one touch forward and been able to put a strike towards the net, instead tried to get it back to the far side for Heinrich, but that was a tough pass to connect. I think she might have been better off trying to take that shot that time and really strike for glory.
Leah Hoynes had an opportunity there too, Mike, to potentially be a little bit more aggressive in her area.
Again, the Hoyas a little bit back on their heels as Creighton able to keep them pinned in. Trying to create something.
Hoynes sends that back. Here is Wiest. Checked in about halfway through the first half, and now she and the Blue Jays have controlled the first 15 minutes of this second half. This is a Georgetown team, again, folks, that entering this match had outscored their competition 26-1, owning the top defense in college soccer, and here they find themselves in as challenging of a position as they've been in their 9-0-1 season to this point.
Well, and this is really the juncture of the game where you might see some of that fatigue being a factor, that 8-day pause that they had in the midst of the 19-day break since their last game, and that might be starting to take effect here. And the weather conditions certainly not helping them much as well. But credit Creighton giving them all they could handle up to this point, and then some.
to explain what this means beyond just Big East tournament. Georgetown on their way to a 9th straight trip to the NCAA tournament. The Hoyas are well in position with the top 10 RPI to make the NCAA tournament. Creighton, on the other hand, they have to win a championship this weekend, as we explained earlier, if they want to go dancing. For the Blue Jays, at first, to be here alone, a huge step for this program. But Ross Polly said, we don't just want to be here. We'd like to show what we're made of.
And checking back in for Creighton was Fothergill, who had a nice flick on with her head that helped lead to the goal from Kardovich back in the 27th minute. Again, brings that experience and calmness up top. Georgetown trying to find its groove here on the offensive end.
Without a real chance thus far in the second half. Fothergill trying to get to Heinrich, but that was denied well by the Hoyas. Caitlin Parcell, Santa Clara transfer, making sure that wasn't happening. Menta down the right side, and her 8th assist in the 9th minute. Jenna Menta, Big East Offensive Player of the Year with the cross. Finally able to get out wide and find an edge, but instead it's just a goal kick, well defended by the Creighton Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, Menta did a nice job, got to the end line there, was able to play it across, tried to connect with Sophie Fox. But again, the Creighton defense up to the task in denying a quality chance, and then to make matters worse for Georgetown, it wound up taking that last deflection off of Sophie Fox to give Creighton the goal kick.
Ansley Atkinson just sends this back to Peyton Steffen.
When you saw the closing speed that time of Gia Vicari.
Well, that's the Dave Nolan way, right? To press high. Could Georgetown get back to some of that? It's part of their DNA.
Yeah, and they're going to need some more of that. Try to get the go-ahead goal here in the second half. I don't think Georgetown wants to be in a situation where it becomes a golden goal type of game.
It would be very interesting in a tandem goalkeeper system of Georgetown. What would happen if we got 2 PKs, if that predicament presented itself?
Yeah, I think at that point you'd almost have to rely on the keeper that finishes the game. It would be, I think, quite dangerous to try to bring in a keeper cold off the bench.
For sure.
But it certainly would be an interesting conundrum, perhaps, for Coach Nolan, because you never know. One could be, more suited for
that's what I'm
a penalty
thinking.
kick shootout. So still a long way to go before that, but certainly within the realm of possibility, the way this one has played out. In opening 10 minutes, it was looking like all Georgetown, and they were just going to roll through another opponent on their way to a 5th straight title game. And Creighton, though, give them all the credit in the world. They have fought back and punched right back at this Hoya squad.
Heinrich racing and sends off the foot of Lees. Cleverly tried to get to it. And now the official.
I think they're a very, very, very delayed offside call.
Very. Victor Borges, our head referee this afternoon, assisted by Al Golden and Tonino Rizzo. Less than 25 left in regulation. Georgetown 9-0-1 on the season. They rolled to the top spot in the East Division of this unique Big East women's soccer season. Creighton had to do scoreboard watching to make this tournament, but here they are, playing with some house money in a position right now, evened up with the number 10 team in America, and an opportunity here. This is going to be fascinating, but it's also Mike, part of what you would want, I think, if you're Georgetown, to get this type of test and be in this type of situation instead of just dealing with it in an NCAA tournament atmosphere.
Right, and especially with such a long layoff, too. I mean, not having played since March 28th, you need to be battle-tested heading into the big dance. And Creighton certainly giving them a big test here this afternoon as both teams making some more changes. Boo Jackson back in for Georgetown, and for Creighton, Maddie Radke, member of the all-freshman team, returns to action.
Radke, we asked Ross Pauley about her. He said she is someone who's talky, someone who makes things happen on the field, and they love to have her send balls across to stretch a team defensively. So let's see what she can do here and if she can get wide.
Yeah, I think one of the key matchups here down the stretch is going to be Skylar Heinrich and Julia Lease. Those two have been battling all game long. Lease at the right back position for Georgetown. Heinrich kind of been playing more of a left winger role for a lot of this one. And, all Heinrich needs is one ball like that to almost get around Lease. But Lease so good on the back line and has dealt with a lot of her opponent's top offensive threats over the course of this season.
She's not a defender by trade either.
Right. Again, one of the more versatile players that Coach Nolan has at his disposal, and, one of those selfless players willing to do anything and play wherever the team needs her most.
I love what Dave Nolan says, just all his unique quotes. He said, Julia Lease takes no prisoners.
And he's certainly right. I mean, just ask Skylar Heinrich today. I mean, it's been quite a battle.
Dave Nolan, Big East through and through. Head coach of the Hoyas now in year 17 and has done an amazing job with this program and spent time on the staff beforehand, but also a Seton Hall Pirate as a player. And how about this? The Georgetown Hoyas and Seton Hall Pirates will meet for the men's soccer title in the Big East tomorrow. The first time those two teams ever met in the Big East tournament was 1988. Dave Nolan was on the field for the Pirates.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game as well. Seton Hall has really come on in the second half of this season and had a heck of a game yesterday in their semifinal win.
Here's a cross now to the middle. And that was a very good thought for the Hoyas. It's as nice of a strike that we've seen and some spacing there for them, but just unable to find that perfect connection.
Yeah, Boo Jackson was trying to wait on the other end of that cross, but it just skipped over the top of her head. She was in a little bit too central. Some nice work here by Parcell.
Now another run at it. Left end. Let's see what the official rules. It's just going to be a goal kick.
Looked like it was going to be a corner there, and that would be an appropriate ending for Caitlin Parcell, grad student, as you mentioned earlier, the transfer from Santa Clara. And, that was two transfer students that have really had an impact, Parcell and, of course, in the midfield, Daisy Cleverly, both transferring from California schools. And what they've been able to do, they've become the best of friends on the team and have really produced well for Coach Nolan. And it's always a mystery, a big question mark when you bring in some of these transfer students from, highly touted programs like Berkeley and, of course, Santa Clara. But the fact that they've been able to fit in so well with what Georgetown likes to do has been just an added bonus for the Hoyas this season.
Well, and it helps as Creighton enters in Emma Yackley, the sophomore midfielder. It helps when you've got a head coach who has 226 career wins over 17 seasons.
Yeah, he's really just built an impressive program at Georgetown and again, finds players in different ways. The normal recruiting routes, the transfer market sometimes, and international players. He's been able to handpick those players that are just going to make an impact in his system season in and season out.
Parcell with the throw here. Now Caitlin Parcell looking to maneuver, and we have another whistle from the referee.
It looked like the offside flag up again.
Yes, it did.
On that far side.
Still an interesting position to have a free kick from. This is rather deep here for Creighton and just sent away. So the Hoyas starting to find some semblance of that rhythm we saw for a good chunk of the first half.
Yeah, especially the first half of the first half where they were in control. They led to their goal in the 9th minute, and then they were able to hold some more possession and create some chances. But when Creighton started to find its groove, it resulted in their goal, and they were able to take good chunks of this game as well. But now you slowly feel that momentum shifting a little bit here for the Hoyas through the latter stages of this one, and we'll see if Creighton's able to play as free as they have been. It's a phenomenal play that time by Terrell.
Still in the middle of the box. That bullet. It's Tomenta only momentarily. But
Sophie Fox the opportunity, but the defense coming up huge to deny Georgetown their second goal. There's the initial punch out by Terrell. Ball's going to come to Fox. A great volley, and there to break it up. Could have been Rothwell, I believe.
Michaela Weiss got in there.
And Weiss as well, so Georgetown no threatening here off the corner once again.
Left-footed strike, and that one harmless this time.
And that was well covered on the near post. Terrell in perfect position.
Well, the first strike for the Hoyas on that sequence came from Parcell, who's been so active down that left side, and it was a great ball sent in.
Yeah, I mean, Parcell's had a couple of chances in the last 5 minutes where she's been able to generate some good progress down the left flank, play dangerous balls in. She almost earned a corner kick as well. And now Georgetown again starting to find its groove once more. But for as many punches as Creighton has taken, they've continued to punch right back.
Well, Mike, I think that's what's been so impressive, as you would have thought. Georgetown scores 9 minutes in. The Hoyas have been so well known to control their opposition, and they get a goal. Now here is Heinrich. Heinrich with a maneuver, stopped in her tracks by Lease. Fothergill. The Hoyas stave off this opportunity. Left side of the box now, another floater, and Gallagher comes off her line, reels it in.
Some very nervy moments in the back there for Georgetown. They really struggled to clear it out. And finally for them, Gallagher able to get her mitts on it, but Creighton certainly causing some problems there.
But you would have thought Georgetown setting the tone that the way this season's gone, that it could just be a one-sided match. And that's what's been so impressive about these gritty Blue Jays.
Yeah, it just really goes to show their mental fortitude. And, you know, I think a lot of that ingrained in them as a young team early part of the season. You go back to that 0-4 start. They could have just called it quits, saying, you know what, we'll wait for the upcoming fall season. We'll get everything together. We know we're young. Instead, the resilience they've been able to show and come back from that 0-4 start to make the Big East tournament, and now giving the top-seeded Hoyas all they could handle here in the semifinals.
You know what else is interesting? Is that if you think about the fact that Georgetown was paused and it has gone without a game for 19 days, and you combine that with the fact that Creighton did give Butler a really tough game. It was 2-1 Butler, but Ross Pauley told us he felt like they could have come out with the right result. Maybe this isn't all that surprising when you look at those couple of variables.
Yeah, absolutely, and those are kind of the X factors in this match, is again Georgetown pushing the limits of the back line of the Blue Jays and coming up offsides once more. This time it was Boo Jackson getting in behind that final blue jersey. And now the clock will stop with 15:01 left as the goalkeeper needs her shoe tied. So there to the rescue is Peyton Steffen, able to help out her keeper. Have you ever tried tying your shoes with the big mitts?
No.
Easy. Not easy. You get all taped up, and it's always great when you can have a teammate come and make things right.
Peyton Steffen, freshman from Waunakee, Wisconsin, which is the perfect transition to thank our Rush Media production crew. Really want to thank the cameramen who are outside right now and all bundled up in sub 40 degree temperatures in the month of April. You don't always plan on that, but thanks to Kevin Brellington and our great crew here in Providence, bringing you these Big East semifinals. John Fanta, joined by Mike Mancuso. It's been a treat to be with you. We have guaranteed ourselves here an exciting finish, a moment of drama in some capacity to come in our weekend opener. To the top of the box, a scramble now. Off a couple of heads. Heinrich was just waiting for her moment, but never got to it.
And again, you could see Georgetown was struggling there for a few moments to get that ball properly cleared out.
Now a run from Menta, the top offensive player in the Big East. But with those orange kicks, Jordy Rothwell ranged over and said not happening this time around as the Hoyas go back to their bench. Alex Baer, the freshman, coming on. And for Creighton, Leah Hoynes back on.
Yeah, and Hoynes and Atkinson providing some good offensive moments earlier in this half. Let's see if they could work some of that magic again here down the stretch.
Jenna Menta comes off for Georgetown.
Not sure her day will be done. Maybe just getting her a quick rest. Again, we've talked about that layoff perhaps affecting some of their endurance. It just came at a really tough time for Georgetown. They were really peaking during that game against Villanova, which would prove to be their regular season finale.
Sophie Fox on over to Caitlin Parcell. Parcell's had great activity in this one, and that was a potentially promising combination.
Well, that was a really sneaky little pass there from Parcell. I really liked what she was doing there. Looked almost like she was going to cross it in at first. Then she spotted Boo Jackson, tried to send her through the back line, but not sure Jackson was really expecting her to thread the needle like that.
It didn't look like she was. Parcell has shown us, though.
Yeah, she's been great in this second half.
Oh,
coming up from that left back position.
great ball for Heinrich. Skylar Heinrich skies this harmlessly.
Well, that time Heinrich able to get through the defense. Alex Baer with the challenge at the end. There's another change now for the Hoyas. Tori Hallwax back in. Out goes Sophie Fox. Well-timed run by Heinrich, but just couldn't really swing her hips and get that one directed on frame. One of the few times, though, that she wasn't picked up by Lease. She was able to get in behind Baer.
There haven't been any of those occurrences up until that point. And how about the ball from Leah Hoynes? Again, the activity of the sophomore has really stood out, particularly in this second half.
Another change up coming for the Hoyas at their next opportunity. They want to get Aaron Martin back in. And they'll have to wait till their next throw.
All square at one. Georgetown struck first and really set the tone.
There's the ball they want.
Hallwax cut off. Creighton defended it perfectly. Hoynes has impressed, and Creighton can't work the combo this time. And now some added urgency from the Hoyas as we hit 11 minutes left in regulation.
So Martin does finally get into the action as the pace picking up down the stretch. I'm sure Coach Nolan does not want to see this one go into extra time. And a handball called against the Hoyas will slow things down as we approach the 80th minute of play. Again, kind of very surprising in my eyes. Georgetown only able to generate 4 shots for the game. 2 of them on goal, 1 of them in the back of the net.
It's a team that averages over 16 shots per fixture. But again, when this Creighton team's played their best soccer, it's come in shutout fashion. Now here's a cross. Hoynes couldn't get to it, just over her head.
It's a great ball by Heinrich. Just kind of got split in between Hoynes and Wiest.
Atkinson couldn't find the combo. And now Georgetown looking to shift. New win.
Great pressure, though, coming straight up to meter was Peyton Steffen.
Now down the left side. Tori Hallwatz. The sophomore with the left foot. Nothing doing this time. 9 and change to go in regulation. First ticket to the Big East title match at stake, and here come the big guns for the Hoyas. They've got Jenna Menta, Gia Vicari, who combined for that first goal for Georgetown 9 minutes in, back on here with 9 minutes to go. Skylar Heinrich racing past Lease, but there's the defense.
Wow, I think Georgetown may be getting away with one that time. Lease totally had her arm on the shoulder of Heinrich, but I think Heinrich kind of almost gave up a little too easily that time.
Heinrich again, and there's the save from Gallagher.
And boy, did she need to hold on to that one, waiting on the doorstep, just wanting to pounce on a possible rebound. Leah Hoynes was right there, but credit Gallagher. Nice job tracking that ball and not letting go.
Lauren Gallagher had only faced 9 shots on the season entering this match. That was a tough one, and in these slick conditions, she really had to hang on. She did. The drama picking up. Here's Vicari.
As a team, Georgetown only gave up 18 shots on goal. They've given up 5 here today against Creighton.
An inspired effort from the Jays. How about the play of Peyton Steffen, the left back for Creighton?
Yeah, I mean, this whole defensive line for Creighton, outside of the one sequence in the first half where Menta was able to get free down the right wing side and play it across to Vicari, they have been outstanding. Rothwell's been a rock back there.
Seven and a half left in regulation. New win working the combo with Parcell. Just out of her range.
Again, Parcell, though, getting herself into dangerous areas in the field. Love to have a tracker on her today, as she has been up and down this near side, especially in the second half.
What are you looking for in these final 7 minutes of regulation?
I want to see if either side could really produce something dangerous. The teams have both combined, they've been able to create some chances, but nothing truly dangerous. They got to get into the final third and just give one of their teammates an opportunity to have that magical moment, that kind of almost career-defining at times. You come up with a big goal in a semifinal game like this, it could really do wonders, not only just today, but even for future games.
In a season that certainly is unique by all cases, that magical moment could mean that much more when it does happen, and we are due for one, no doubt, today, because it is win or go home. This is postseason soccer. Georgetown well in line for an NCAA tournament berth regardless. Creighton, the Cinderella story, down 1-0 early on and looking like a familiar script that we've been used to in this tournament. It's why Georgetown, with a win today, would go to a 5th consecutive Big East championship game.
Now here's an opportunity for one of those magical moments. Lease will have the kick. It was a strong foul from Rothwell against Menta, but now, and you can tell, Georgetown is bringing a lot of players forward here to try to get on the other end of this cross from Lease.
He sends it in. Hoynes all over it. To the right side. Lease trying to get back to it. A flare in, but Creighton covered it.
Well, you got to give all the credit in the world there to Heinrich, who came back just as Lease was trying to unload the shot. It was Heinrich getting in her way. Reversal of fortune.
Just out. That's what the official calls, because Heinrich almost got away from everybody that time. Aida Kardovic with the left foot. And there's Gallagher again.
Nearly slipped through the mitts that time. Some pace from Kardovic. Well outside the area, but sometimes you just got to test the keeper, especially in these kind of conditions. Seen stranger things happen in these type of games.
Here's Aida Kardovic again. Hoynes, who has impressed, defended well by Georgetown. Daisy cleverly gets to this one. We haven't said her name much today. But able to reel it in, and the Hoyas will have a throw. 4 minutes on the clock in regulation as Georgetown goes back to Boo Jackson.
Unfortunately for Georgetown, that's going to mean that Bear comes out all the way from the far side of the field, so some precious seconds running off the clock as the Hoyas want to try to take care of business in regulation here. And neither team sitting back, both teams on the full offensive when given the opportunity. They know what's on the line here today.
For those wondering, if we do hit end of regulation, still at 1-1, we will go to golden goal, overtime, 2 10-minute periods. And if at that point we don't have a winner, we are heading to penalty kicks.
Another change here now for Creighton. They bring Fothergill back in, who was credited with an assist on their lone goal. We'll see if they eventually add a secondary assist also for Heinrich, who was instrumental in that goal. Again, the challenge near midfield gives Georgetown an opportunity to bring some numbers forward and try to overload the 18, or at least near the 18, and Lease certainly able to put this ball in a dangerous spot.
Two and a half left in regulation. The long ball sent towards the top of the 18, but just never have much more momentum on it, and that crosswind has caused a lot of balls to just die, or with the field conditions, trickle out of play in this one. Royson, fancy footwork by Royson, the seasoned vet.
And unfortunately for her, though, the final touch, not her finest, as that one sails out of bounds.
.100 ticks left in regulation. This has been quite a thriller. Georgetown setting the tone in the 9th minute. Gia Vicari as advertised from Jenna Menta. But then the 27th, Creighton responded off a scramble. Now the Blue Jays, could they find that magical moment still here with over a minute left? Sending some numbers ahead. Peyton Steffen with the high flyer. Now right side of the box. Fothergill trying to get to it. It sails out for a Jays.
It's going to be a throw deep in Hoya territory.
Kardovic just couldn't get a clean foot to it. Ross Pauley helping out Peyton Steffen. Creighton trying to find one more chance. Kardovic with this throw. Looking for anything, and now a foul called on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Nicole Tiller just too aggressive inside the 18, trying to shove one of the Hoyas away. Easy call for the official there, and that pretty much kills the offensive flow for the Blue Jays. So we head into the final seconds of this one, which looks at this point destined for extra time.
Georgetown, the favorite, one of the top teams in the country. The Creighton Blue Jays making their first Big East tournament appearance. 90 minutes is not enough. We have bonus soccer to decide our first ticket to the Big East championship game. And we'll have that overtime coming up next. You're watching the Big East Digital Network, sponsored by SoFi.
As Bulldogs, we believe in the Butler way, in doing more than our best, in putting team above self, and unleashing our strengths for the greater good. We're selfless. We're united. We're unwavering. Now more than ever.
If your money is working toward the same goals, why keep it in different places? SoFi is a one-stop shop for your finances, designed to work better together. Spend with SoFi and get cashback rewards that automatically go toward your goals, like investing in stocks, ETFs, and crypto. That's better together. Or pay down your SoFi debt sooner. That's better together. And that's how SoFi is helping millions get their money right.
Though we are many, we are part of something. A force bigger than all of us. Our distinct fingerprints collectively shaping and forever changing what makes UConn, UConn. Forever making our mark. Forever making UConn a part of us.
As Bulldogs, we believe in the Butler way, in doing more than our best, in putting team above self, and unleashing our strengths for the greater good. We're selfless. We're united. We're unwavering. Now more than ever.
If your money is working toward the same goals, why keep it in different places? SoFi is a one-stop shop for your finances, designed to work better together. Spend with SoFi and get cashback rewards that automatically go toward your goals, like investing in stocks, ETFs, and crypto. That's better together. Or pay down your SoFi debt sooner. That's better together. And that's how SoFi is helping millions get their money right.
Just moments away from overtime number 1, Georgetown and Creighton. A ticket to Sunday's Big East Women's Soccer Finals at stake. The Creighton Blue Jays picked at the bottom of the Midwest Division in the preseason poll. Here they are. The Georgetown Hoyas, the expected heavyweight in this conference, now finding themselves in a test unlike any they have seen this season. John Fanta, Mike Mancuso with you from Friartown on this dramatic Friday. Blustery conditions, a mix of rain and snow. These teams have given it their all. What are you looking at as the key to this OT?
Well, I think the key is getting off to a good start. You know, you don't want to have any kind of letdowns. Make sure everybody is mentally sharp and ready to go, because at this point, one mistake could be the absolute difference in this game. Both teams with some overtime games this season. Georgetown 1-0-1. They were able to knock off Seton Hall in overtime 3-2, and they tied Providence here at Chappie Field 0-0 earlier in the season. For Creighton, they lost against DePaul in overtime in that early portion of their season, but came back to beat Marquette on April 1st. And there's a chance right away that goes by the wayside. As on the doorstep was Boo Jackson. But they're going to call a penalty kick.
A penalty kick given to Georgetown. And the Hoyas.
So we'll look here. Into the box goes Menta. And they're going to call it on the keeper.
Wow.
Keelan Terrell had the legs kind of out. And stepping up will be Julia Lease. Has not taken a penalty kick this season.
Well, only fitting that a Hoya sophomore, part of this game-changing sophomore class, can try to put Georgetown into a 5th straight Big East championship game. Terrell for Creighton, Lease for the Hoyas. Georgetown will play for the Big East championship for a 5th straight year on Sunday.
Julia Lease comes through with a huge moment there. The Swiss Army knife for this Hoya team delivers the final blow to knock Creighton out.
Just 35 seconds into this overtime period.
And you really got a feel for this Creighton side. Boy, did they come to play here this afternoon. Down early, they responded with a goal. Outshot Georgetown on the day, controlled lengthy portions of this game, but in the end, it comes down to that spot, and it's Julia Lease able to deliver that magical moment to send her team into the championship game. And you got to credit Terrell. She guessed the right way. Looked like she was trying to read Lease, but Lease finding that side netting and certainly enough pace behind it. And Georgetown, for the 5th straight season, will advance into the Big East championship game.
The dynasty got tested. Creighton put together a sensational effort. And to the Blue Jays, a hat tip, because this is a season for them that can be the start of momentum going forward. You start the season 0-4. Mike, like you said earlier, it could have been easy for them to quit. They did not. They gave a terrific effort here, but Georgetown finding a way, and for Julia Lease, what a moment for Lease, the All-Big East second-team selection. She's asked to defend, but she is not a defender by trade, and we see the Swiss Army knife for the Hoyas come up huge.
Absolutely, just a tremendous moment there.
Georgetown advancing to Sunday's Big East championship game. We will see who they face coming up 5 Eastern time. It will be Butler and Connecticut here from Providence. For our producer Kevin Brelth and our entire crew, my partner Mike Mancuso, I'm John Fanta saying so long for now. The Georgetown Hoyas marching on to a 5th straight Big East final, courtesy of Julia Lease, the PK game winner in OT.